When we're looking at internal combustion engines, there are two different types of designs for the spark ignition engine. And the design of the engine, well, I mean, there are many different types of designs, but two main different cycles that you could find. One is referred to as being the 4-stroke cycle, and the other is the 2-stroke cycle. So let's start by looking at the 4-stroke, and you'll hear them referred to as being a 4-stroke engine. But for this, the gas power cycle is completed in 4 strokes of our piston. So it goes up, down, and that would be one complete cycle. So the way that it's going, we start with the piston at top dead center, and it moves down to bottom dead center. That's what we call the intake. And so during that, what we're doing is we're drawing in air and fuel. We then compress the charge, that is our air-fuel mixture, and that's when we go from bottom dead center up to top dead center, and that is called compression. And as we near the top, that is when we go through the ignition process. And for a spark ignition engine, that's when the spark would go off. So you have timing and control associated with that. You want it to ignite at the right point, or you can have a lot of instability in the way that your engine is running. And then we have combustion taking place inside of the engine. And so we're going from top dead center down to bottom dead center. And we call that the expansion stroke. And so this is really where we're getting our power from. So that's the power producing stroke. And then what happens is our piston will move back up from bottom dead center back up to top dead center. And that is our exhaust stroke, where, if you recall, we had the 2 valves. That's where your exhaust valve would open, and then we purge the combusted mixture. So we've already gone through combustion. We would purge that out through our exhaust port. So this is typically with 4-stroke. And it is used sometimes in automobiles, all the time, and some smaller lawnmowers may use it. So what we're going to do now, let's take a listen to a 4-stroke cycle. So what we heard is the 4-stroke cycle within a lawnmower, and if you live in North America, you hear that sound quite often as people are mowing their lawns, but it has certain characteristics to it, and it will be difficult to distinguish until we hear the 2-stroke. So what we'll move on to now is let's take a look at the 2-stroke. And here, the gas cycle is completed in only 2 strokes of our piston moving up and down. And so what we have is we go from top dead center down to bottom dead center, and here we have 2 things going on at the same time. We have an exhaust taking place and intake. where our air-fuel mixture is coming in. And so the way two-strokes are designed, it's rather complex with the way that they have the there are no valves, but there are ports within the engine. And as the piston moves up and down, it's actually even moving down, it's moving things in and out. You'd have to watch a video of it to really get an appreciation of. I'm sorry, I don't have a video of what goes on inside. But if you do a search on the internet, you'll be able to find that. And then we're going from bottom dead center up to top dead center. And there we have compression and ignition. Now the difference between four-stroke and two-stroke, you're getting power for every time you're going from bottom dead center up to top dead center. So that's a good thing. And consequently, these are characterized as being engines where you have fairly good power output for the weight of the engine. And consequently, they're used in very portable applications such as chainsaws, sometimes in snowmobiles for those who live in the north. For those of you who are not in the north, you would not know what a snowmobile is, but if you search it on the internet, you'll find it. Look up Bombardier and you'll see snowmobiles. And typically these are characterized as engines where you have to mix the oil into the fuel. So what we're going to do now, we're going to listen to a two-stroke engine, and then after that what I'll do is I'll put the four-stroke and the two-stroke side by side, so we will be able to listen to both of them. But before that, let's listen to the two-stroke engine. So immediately we can tell by the sound that the four-stroke and the two-stroke are quite different. The two-stroke actually sounds like it is a little jagged in terms of the way that it runs. It kind of kicks in, kicks out, kicks in, kicks out. It sounds like it's going to stall all the time. The other thing, I'm not sure if you could tell from the video, but they tend to push blue. What that means is that we have burnt oil in the exhaust gas, and that could be seen, and the reason for that is because you're mixing oil with your fuel, and so you are burning a little bit more oil than you would with the four-stroke, where you would have an oil pump in the bottom that's circulating and providing lubrication for the engine, whereas with the two-stroke you do that by providing the oil in the mixture of the gas and the oil. And so what we're going to do now, let's listen to the two of them side by side, and then we'll have a comparison between the four-stroke and the two-stroke. So there we go. The four-stroke is obviously the smoother sounding engine, and that's because it is operating and only firing every fourth time that it goes either up or down, up or down. whereas the two-stroke is firing every time it's going either up or down. And consequently, you have a few more cycle or burn cycles going through with the two-stroke. It's a little louder and a little more jagged, whereas the four-stroke is a smoother engine. Two-strokes, again, they're only used mainly in where you need kind of portable power production, very lightweight. They're a little more polluting than the four-stroke, although even people complain about the four-strokes as being quite polluting, and they try to have us move more towards electrical lawnmowers and things like that, or rechargeable. Although it depends where you're getting the electricity from for the rechargeable. If it's coming from a coal-burning power plant, you may not actually be achieving a heck of a lot beyond just burning the fuel within your lawnmower. Okay, so those are a comparison between the two-stroke and the four-stroke. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to look at a little bit more of the terminology, and then that will conclude this lecture. Thank you.